keep it in the comic book realm, in the nerd zone, shall we say. DC Entertainment have recently done a video about the costume designs behind Batman v Superman, with both of those characters and Wonder Woman. I'm guessing they're probably not going to show us some of the shit we really want to see that we haven't already seen, that being Aquaman and Cyborg and Flash, all the people that's supposed to be making little cameos in that show, but in that film, I'm not sure. But either way, man, we never know. They could surprise us, but let's check this out.
The costumes from Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice are on display in the DC booth at New York Comic Con. And we got a chance to chat with costume designer Michael Wilkinson about all the cool secrets of his designs. So tell me a little bit about how you came up with the new costumes for Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Well, it was definitely a labor of love. We all feel so passionately about all of these characters. You know, they've been around for such a long time. They mean so much to so many people.
Perfect costume.
So we made sure we did our homework and we really looked into the histories of all of these characters. Then I got busy drawing, working with an amazing team of illustrators. It was about a year from the time that I started the job until we actually started filming.
Still looks a little weird to me that Superman ain't got
so we really had the time to
I love that Wonder Woman costume.
obsess about every square inch of them. You know, Zack Snyder gave us such a clear direction about where he wanted to go with these costumes. When we were designing the Superman costume, what Zack and I really wanted to bring across was textures that weren't necessarily from our known world. This costume was created on another planet with alien technology. There's also some subtle differences in the belt, the buckle,
kind of
the
is a
glyph
rock,
itself. Zack loved the idea that there was actually some Kryptonian script embedded in the suit, but he gave me this fantastic quote that he wanted us to translate into Kryptonian and incorporate into the script. It sort of deals with the nature of power and the responsibility that comes with power. For Batman, it was really important for Zack that we created a whole new Batman. He said the most important thing for our Batman is that he comes across as a really hulking, big guy. He's super pumped up. He's going to be even bigger than Superman in silhouette. And so his strength is not through armor and like gadgets and things, but it's just he's like a tower of muscle. Zack Snyder's a real fan of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. And we looked a lot at that silhouette when we were creating our silhouette. But the cowl I'm super proud of. That was an amazing sort of feat of engineering. It's always been a big thing of like the whole, can he actually turn his head? But it does allow a full range of movement. He can do all of his stunts in the cowl. So with Wonder Woman, what Zack's talked to me about is creating a character who has an incredible power and strength. Her presence as a warrior is completely legitimate and unquestionable, but at the same time has kind of a grace and elegance of the Amazonian culture. You know, it's quite a formal culture. Their way of fighting is very, very disciplined. And so we wanted to sense that majesty with her look.
Sick.
And then I think when you talk about Wonder Woman, you can't not ask about the lasso and the bracers.
Lasso of truth. Yep, that we worked really closely with the props department to work on sort of crossover with the shield, the lasso, the sword.
Can the bracers deflect bullets along with heat vision, and are they supernatural?
Well, you know, Diana is immortal, so she's been around for a long time. She does have powers that are beyond human. So when we were creating our textures, we were referring to different metals that exist, but also creating new finishes of metals that might have this kind of supernatural kind of power to them. So hopefully we created something that's kind of original and eye-catching.
Our excitement for Batman v Superman is matched only by our enthusiasm for Dark Knight 3: The Master Race. And Frank Miller is back at DC to finish off his epic adventure. All right, Dan.
Dude, round of applause for that costume designer. You know, costume designers don't always get the respect they deserve for the hard work that they do. And I've got to say, respect due to the Marvel side of things. On the Marvel side of things, they've done a good job as far as bringing to life those costumes. They've done a good job. Something about these costumes though, man. It's some people moan that don't like the fact that it's so dark and the colors are so muted. Personally, I don't mind. I like the fact that it really does have a distinct difference between the DC and Marvel universes. I'm okay with it being darker and more mature. I'm okay with that, and I love those costumes. They just look, it's weird to say considering they're comic book characters and superheroes, but they look more real. But I'm saying more real, that ain't really fair because there's plenty of the Marvel ones which look great. You know, the Captain America one took a while, but they've got that right. They perfected that costume in Winter Soldier. That was like the best that costume's ever been, and I love that costume. Iron Man, they're always knocking the Iron Man costumes out of the park. And 4, you know, you admit, considering how out there and of its time that original 4 design was, what they did with that costume was, you know, really good, really good. So you can't really, it's not really fair to say bounce one or the other, but these ones are concerned, I love them. And that Batman costume is probably the best. I want to see it more in motion, so I'm real looking forward to the film. Oh, like everyone ain't. God, oh, so far away. 6 months is so far. But we've waited this long, we can wait a little bit longer. Literally, we've waited over a year for this shit. Nearly 2 years since they announced it. We can wait a little more. We can do this. We can do this. We've waited over a decade for a decent Star Wars movie, and that's coming. So we can do this. But yeah, that Batman costume looks sick. And I'm really interested to see it move the neck. What they said, it's got full range of motion with the head. Really need to see that in action. But yeah. What do you guys think? How do you think all of these costumes compare to other versions of it? The Batman is way more Batman. To compare it to the old Tim Burton Batman costumes, the Joel Schumacher Batman costumes, the Christopher Nolan Batman costumes, where do you think this one rates? Is it your favourite? It's my favourite so far from what we can see of it. But I know some of you may prefer the more armoured, probably more, in some respects, realistic. If a man was to do what Batman does, you'd probably want to be armoured, to be bulletproof and knife proof. But then we don't really know what that material is that the Zack Snyder Batman's costume is made from, or you know, in the realm of the movie, they may try to say that it's some sort of high tech, ultra thin bulletproof fabric. You never know, but But let me know, guys, which is your favorite, which stands out the most to you. And even with Marvel, what's your favorite Marvel costume so far? Let me know, right? Comments down below. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. May the recent be my first take to DC's Batman v Superman costume designer reveals hidden. It's hidden details. Later, guys.